Welcome back, everyone, and of course, congratulations to all of the award winners. Next up, and it's something of a personal treat, an old ally of Retail Banker International, one of the biggest names in global retail banking. It's a pleasure to be joined by Suvo Sarkar. Suvo is the Senior Executive Vice President, Retail Banking and Wealth Management at Emirates NBD. Suvo, lovely to see you. I'm so sorry that this year we're not meeting in person. I'm currently in a rather damp, dark Edinburgh, capital of Scotland, and it's just tragic that I can't ask you questions in person today. I'm so sorry about that. Hopefully we can get you back at a future event in person when we're in more normal times. When I prepared in draft the areas of questions I wanted to fire at you, I stopped at 20. Now, time will only maybe permit me to ask 4 or 5 questions, but the sort of areas I was looking at were the recent highlights for the bank, digitization metrics, some of which you're smashing, the phenomenal growth of Live, which is just a huge inspiration, I think, to a number of incumbent banks and what can be done with a new sub-digital brand. The relationship with the fintech community where Emirates NBD, I think, is a world leader. And lastly, the role of the bank in the community, how the bank is dealing with the pandemic, and indeed how I think the banking sector is going to come out of this crisis with its reputation enhanced, and dare I say, in something of a contrast to how the banking sector came out of the financial crisis of 2008. So if I can just fire away, because I'm conscious of time for you and everyone else, and start with the challenges of the pandemic, but notwithstanding that, there have been some really important announcements from Emirates NBD recently. What are some of the main initiatives at the bank over the past few months that deserve to be highlighted on a global stage?
First of all, Doug, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you and everyone else here. I think it's been a very exciting time for banking across the world, and definitely for us here in the Gulf. Extraordinary times, really. The last 6 months have been nothing short of extraordinary. When the pandemic struck and we had to look at health and safety measures and close a number of our branches, we had to quickly think of ways and means by which customers will connect with us through digital means. And we did a number of things to enhance customers' connectivity, looked at online transfer limits, looked at a video engagement model for our relationship managers to connect with our customers, look at contactless applications, so customers can apply for products sitting in their home or offices. In parallel, we also rolled out a number of relief measures for both our individual customers and SME customers. We deferred installments of loans of approximately 1/3 of the book. We looked at credit card installment plans, looked at a number of fees and charges to be reversed, anything that will help customers in the situation of the pandemic. Thankfully, at least in the region, in Dubai and in UAE, we've seen business coming back slowly in the last 3 months, the third quarter of the year. And as we see that, we're putting in place new products and services, right from our tie-ups with our auto dealerships and property developers, so that customers can have a more easier buying process for homes and cars. 3 specific initiatives I want to talk about. One is a global first, a launch of a Visa Flexi card with Visa internationally that allows customers to pick and choose their benefits and privileges, right from shopping, entertainment to dining, as they please, year on year. That's just been launched. And the second is a launch of a range of fund of funds that we put together for our customers, for our retail wealth customers. And the third is our going first as the first bank in the country to go live on a UAE blockchain platform that allows customers to update their KYC with us seamlessly. And this is an ecosystem that will build over time, and something that we are very proud to be the anchor in. along with the Dubai Economic Department. So those are some of the highlights I would want to just talk about in the last 6 exciting months.
The recent investor presentations and quarterly results from the bank, it's very clear that there's a number of digital highlights that are noteworthy. What are some of the key metrics on the digital side of the bank that have been most encouraging to you?
So Doug, in the last few years, we have been undergoing a massive digital transformation for Emirates NBD. In fact, 3 years back, we announced an investment of about $300 million in stepping up our digital capabilities. We are in the middle of that journey. It's been an exciting journey, and we are seeing results already. Our mobile-based digital account opening is something we launched last year, and 1 in 4 accounts of the bank are now opened on the mobile platform, and that should step up. In fact, the pandemic, half the new accounts were actually being opened on the mobile platform. Digital activation for our customers is now running at about 76%, which we believe is a very good standard to aspire for. And 96% of our transactions are actually conducted today outside the branch. In the pandemic, especially in the last 6 months, we've seen a massive growth in transactions that are done contactless, so on debit and credit cards. Over 80% of our transactions are now contactless, either through tap and pay or through a mobile wallet. And we've seen e-commerce volumes growing by about 25% in the last 12 months, which obviously means customers are doing much more online shopping. We've also now on our web introduced a number of product applications, whether it's insurance, whether it's new account opening, and other facilities that customers can do directly on our website. So all in all, a number of digital capabilities that are actually helping customers expand their ways to connect with the bank.
The last time we shared a platform, Suvo, was in Singapore just over a year ago. And at that time, I was talking about Live in particular and how it should be an inspiration to incumbent established banks as regards what they can do with a digital sub-brand. What are some of the Live initiatives that are noteworthy of the past year?
So Live continues to be the fastest growing retail bank in the country with over 400,000 customers today. And the good news is for us that 90% of these customers are millennials and are new to our group. So using that as an acquisition machine to get the younger customers into the bank. Over the course of the last 1 year since we last met, we launched a Live credit card, which is a customizable card for customers to pick and choose their benefits. Customers can also now get a personal loan on the Live platform. Additionally, we've actually seen a growth in the savings habits of Live customers. In the pandemic, one thing we saw is the propensity for savings has gone up, and customers now tend to save more and spend less and preserve their wealth. So we've seen our savings rate double on the Live platform. We've also launched Live now in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the last few months. We've seen a very good acceptance of it. In fact, it's a bilingual platform given the market. We've also integrated our Live account opening with the government identification procedures in KSA. So customers can come in with their government ID and open a Live account instantly. They can also on the landing page connect to facilities like a cinema or a restaurant booking or a concert booking seamlessly through API integration. So Live is allowing them to do much more than banking in Saudi, and very soon we'll bring that to UAE as well. So all in all, a very good story. We keep learning from what we do new in Live, and we're porting many of those capabilities to the bank as well, to the main bank as well. So yeah, it's been a learning journey, a very exciting journey.
It's phenomenal. When I think back to my very first visit to Saudi Arabia at that time, this is going back a number of years, I could not have imagined a bank such as Live taking off in Saudi Arabia. Are you saying that it's actually exceeding the targets that you've set since the launch there?
That is correct. We still have a huge ambition to grow in the region, but we are getting there. So yes, I think we are doing well both in UAE and Saudi.
Excellent. Moving on to the fourth area I wanted to touch upon, and that's the bank's partnerships with the fintech community. I'm thinking, for example, of your work with Urban, but will we see more such partnerships, and are there other highlights that I should be reporting on and that should be covered in global publications like my own?
Absolutely. So we partnered with a property technology startup called Urban to actually launch something called a rental loan, first of its kind in the country, where prospective tenants could actually go to the site and virtually sign up a lease that is financed by the bank. So that's important in today's times. And based on experience, we've now tied up with DoBizzle, which is the leading classifieds platform in the country, to launch a product called Auto Swap, which allows car owners to sell their cars to prospective buyers without the need to settle the outstanding loans. So the transaction becomes quick and easy. We also tied up with an automobile manufacturer like GMC to launch Shop Click Drive, which is an online platform, which allows a seamless car buying experience by enabling prospective car buyers to pre-arrange the financing through the manufacturer's website. We believe that banking will go outside the borders of bank branch and borders of banking, and it's important that banks tie up with fintechs and with startups who are making the last mile much more accessible to customers. So yes, we will continue to look for and engage in partnerships with innovators like the ones I mentioned.
Thanks. And just finally, I mean, we're both old enough to remember the run-up to the 2008 financial crisis. And while the UAE was by no means the worst, in fact, one of the better markets in terms of how banks were perceived by customers and how the banks behaved, there were some problems. But I'm thinking globally here and not just about your principal markets. Would you agree with me that the banking sector as a whole globally is taking a much more responsible role and is going to attract a positive press for how it has dealt with the pandemic? You've already touched on the loan repayment initiatives that you've had, but my impression is the banking sector is dealing with this crisis so much better than the 2008 crisis. Would that be fair?
Very much, Doug, very much. I think all banks have been uniformly putting the customer right in front of what needs to be done through the last 6 months of the crisis, of the pandemic. I think all banks globally have put in place relief measures for loans, installment plans, charge moratoriums, a number of measures that have gone to help customers in this difficult time. And I think that is something that has been very different this time than the 2008-2009 crisis. At Emirates MEED, I mentioned various things we've done, including extending the repayment tenors of customers and lowering installment amounts for customers who are affected by the crisis in terms of the salaries they get. Apart from that, a number of banks, including us, are working with the community that we live in to provide a number of measures. So, whether it's laptops to schools, whether it is, accommodation for medical workers, or food packs for migrant workers, a number of, things that we've done to try and be part of the community. And I think that's very much a responsibility for banks. We are a key pillar of society. And at a time like this, it's important that we step out our comfort zone and do what is required by the society, by the community. So I'm actually proud of the work that not just we have done, but bankers across the world have done at this time. So yeah, well done to all of us on that. Thank
you. Just before you go, before I let you go, Suvo, we've only done this once in my 15 years on Retail Banking International, but we want to recognise your role and your leadership, and we're awarding you with a Lifetime Achievement Award from RBI. For anyone who doesn't know, Suvo has over 31 years of leadership experience with 5 leading financial institutions in multiple geographies across the Middle East and Africa, and he's led the retail banking business at Emirates NBD since 2004. He's transformed the bank. You heard him in his Q&A talking about the huge 300 million investment just in latest digital technology. That is just one example of digital leadership from Emirates. In addition to some really outstanding results, which I enjoy reporting when the Emirates NBD quarterly results come out, one metric is a standout. The 29% cost income ratio is blinding. Suvo, congratulations. We will get a physical award to you. The pandemic presents slight logistical problems, but we'll get an award to you. It is much, much deserved, and I hope that we can have you back on stage at a future event in more normal times. But for today, thank you, and huge thank you for all the help that you have given to us over the years.
Doug, may I say I'm delighted and overwhelmed to receive this award. So thank you, and thanks to the RBI team. I accept this award gratefully on behalf of my colleagues and all my well-wishers across the world. When I started my career, actually 33 years back in banking, it was a very different bank. It was a very different industry. You had to walk into the branch manager's room in a neighborhood branch to get special service. Today, you just tap on your mobile phone and you can get as special service you want. So I think over the last 3 decades, banking has transformed in a very, very significant way. But if I may say one thing that has not changed is the need for banks to win the hearts and minds of customers. So service excellence is something that was as relevant 33 years back, and probably is more relevant today in the world of digital, right? So as the world goes more digital, going more personal becomes the biggest differentiator. So with that, I would like to say thank you to everybody, to all my colleagues across the industry, for all that I've learned from all of you. And let's hope ourselves, sure and safe way out of the pandemic, so we can look forward to the happy days to come again. Thank you.
Thank you, Suvo Sarkar, Senior Executive Vice President, Retail Banking and Wealth Management at Emirates NBD. And with that, we now move on to Andrew Haslop, Head of Content Asia Pacific at Global Data, for his presentation on neobanks, and that can be found now on stage 2. Thank you.